Hello everybody. This is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today we're going to work on a church arrangement. So this is a container that they brought to us. This is going to go on an altar table where the cross stands above the arrangement. So we don't need it too terribly high. We're going to we started out with some fresh floral foam. Now I actually put it in a little liner so you can see the dish up underneath, and then I taped it into place. Now the reason I did this is because the container belongs to a lady at the church and she wanted to be able to donate the arrangement to someone. So we made it to where this arrangement would pull right out of this container. I was sure to add water to that reservoir, and I taped my foam into place. Now it's so important that you tape that foam into place so that it doesn't go anywhere. You don't have to worry about the flower arrangement toppling out or anything like that. We're going to start out with a little bit of jade foliage. Now I don't use jade a whole lot, but we are very low on leather leaf today, so we are going to use some jade, which is just going to be our base greenery. I'm using my floral knife and I am going to cut my stem at an angle, and I am going to go all the way around this foam with these pieces of jade. I'm just taking my greenery and I'm just cutting it into smaller pieces. Now you can strip off some of those leaves, like this one had some damage, so I went ahead and stripped off some of those leaves. Or you can take your knife and cut it in half and then use it in two separate pieces. Now, if you do that, of course you're saving money because you're not throwing your greenery away, which is always nice, not to throw away your money, because if at all possible, make it stretch as far as it'll go. All right, so there's our jade, and it's really just giving us a foundation, just a base. Now I am going to add just a few more small pieces back here in the back, and I'll turn the arrangement around for you so you can see it. Now, I just dropped that one on the floor. Now the reason you want to add it to the back, guys, is you want to cover up that base. You want to cover up that foam. So you can see how I'm not showing my foam. It's so important, y'all, that we finish that arrangement. You want it finished. You don't want the backside hanging out. You don't want your slip showing. So there is our jade base. Next, I'm going to come in with a little bit of eucalyptus. So this is parvifolia eucalyptus. I'm going to take it and cut it into small pieces, and it's just going to kind of drape over the side, give us a little bit of a dripping effect to this arrangement. So I'm just actually taking each little piece. This is one stem that I'm cutting off of, and I'm just taking it and cutting it apart using that floral knife and just cutting it into smaller pieces and tucking it throughout that foam. All right, so there is our parvifolia. Look at the movement that it gives us. Next, we will come in with some aspidistra, or cast iron plant. I'm just going to take it, and we're going to leave some of these leaves. I love the way this foliage kind of gives us style and just different movement in an arrangement. So this is called Milky Way aspidistra. It has little tiny dots on the leaves, almost like you've splattered it with bleach. All right, there's our aspidistra leaves. And then to finish it, we're going to add a little bit of sword fern. Set these over here to the side. And actually, we will add the sword fern after we get our flowers in place. I'm going to put our aspidistra over here, and we can use it too. Next, we're going to come in with some flowers. So the flowers that I chose, this is in memory of a gentleman who passed away. So my line flowers are going to include the bells of Ireland and this very bold and beautiful blue delphinium. I'm going to start out with my bells. Of course, there's going to be a cross here, so I don't want it to be too terribly tall. So I'm going to go a little bit more out instead of up, if that makes sense. I'm going to take my floral knife and cut that stem at an angle. Oh, let's trim that one down. It's just a little long, I think. All right, so there's our bells of Ireland. I still think that's a little long. There we go. That's a little better. Next, we're going to come in with our blue delphinium, this beautiful royal blue delphinium. We're going to tuck it. Here and there. I love that beautiful royal blue. It's so pretty, isn't it? Okay, so there's our royal blue delphinium. We just kind of tucked it throughout. Now you can see how I may come down just a smidge with this piece. You can see how I'm leaving that center kind of empty because I really want that cross to be seen. All right, next we're going to come in with some Alstroemeria lilies. So Alstroemeria lilies are also called Peruvian lilies, and I thought that this red was so lovely. Now the wonderful part about an Alstro is it's so long lasting. You can pick them up usually from your local grocery store for fairly inexpensive, and they will last forever and ever, which I think is wonderful. So I'm just taking those stems, I'm stripping off those leaves, and I'm just tucking a few down in that center for that pretty red color. I think it's just so nice. Okay, so our red Alstros, our blue delphinium, and then our green bells of Ireland. Next, we're going to come in with some color. Some bright color. I'm going to set these Alstros to the side. Next, we're going to come in with some sunflowers as our focal flower. So I used my Alstros kind of as a filler, and then my two line flowers, of course, they're called line flower because they look like a line. And now we're going to go with our focal flower in the center. So we're going to use these beautiful, bold Vincent sunflowers. Now I'm going to grab a piece of wire. And let me tell you why we're going to use this wire. This wire is going to help me manipulate this flower's head just a little bit. I'm going to turn it and let you see. See how he's bending? You can see how he's going forward. If I lift him up just a little bit, I don't have to have him too tall to look forward. So I'm going to take a piece of florist wire. I've cut it into about 1/4 of a wire. I'm going to press it into the disc of the flower, the head of the flower on the back, and then I'm wrapping that wire right around that stem. And then I'm able to manipulate that head just a little bit so that he's not bending over so much. Taking my floral knife, I'm going to cut that at an angle. And I am going to tuck that guy right down there to look right at you. So you see how your eye is drawn directly to that flower, right? This one's not leaning quite as much, so I don't have to wire it. Now the wonderful part about a sunflower, his stem is very pliable. Very easy to manipulate. You're not going to have to worry about breaking that stem at all. So it's very easy to manipulate that stem. I'm going to move it, or that flower's head. Okay, and then I have a third stem, and I think we may tuck it kind of down here in this greenery right down here looking at you. So again, he really doesn't have to be wired. So I took and cut that stem, and I'm just pressing it right down in to that foam. Look how pretty that, and I kind of went in a line. You can kind of see how I went in a line. But aren't they so pretty? And they draw your eye to the flower. Next, we're going to come in with a little bit of filler flower. So the filler flower, I chose two. I chose Solidago Aster. And then we chose a tinted orange colored wax flower. So I'm going to take my Solidago aster and I'm just going to break it and tuck it throughout our arrangement. Okay, there's our Solidago. And then this is one stem of wax. So I'm only going to use one. I pulled two, but I'm only going to use one. And I'm just going to take it and break it into small pieces and just nestle it throughout our arrangement. We're just going to put it here and there into our design. And we're just filling up some of that negative space. So I've stripped off the leaves on these hypericum berries and I'm just going to tuck them in. I love that they give a really pretty texture. Now hypericum berries come in lots of colors. This is kind of a peachy orange, which is so pretty. But I just nestled those into an empty spot over there. To finish our arrangement, we're going to add a little bit of sword fern just to give us a different texture in our greenery. Now, personally, I love greenery, and I think mixed greens really, really make such a difference in an arrangement. And so that's why I love to put all the different varieties. Now, remember that when you're designing, and if you're designing at home, y'all go cut greenery out of your yard. Go cut different varieties and different shapes, different colors.